I'm Ben Meiselas from the Midas Touch Network. The next No Kings protest is being announced. It is right around the corner. It's going to take place on October 18th. By all accounts, it is going to be even bigger and more powerful than the peaceful No Kings protest that took place this summer that I know all of you attended. We want to give you here the urgent update on everything you need to know about the next peaceful No Kings protest taking place October 18th. And what better way to do that than bring in all of the leaders, in my opinion, the true heroes here who are working, the grassroots leaders working every single day to make sure that these peaceful protests are successful, organizing with their local chapters, their local branches, the on-the-field organizers, again, all of them, the real heroes here. And it's just an honor if in any small way we could use this platform to amplify the work that they are all doing. So we're going to bring the leaders together right here, and we're going to talk about the protests, the peaceful protests, what we can expect on October 18th, where's it going to take place, what you should know, how you can prepare, how to get the word out, and more. So from Move On, we have their leader, Joel Payne. From Indivisible, their leader, Ezra Levin. From Voices of Florida and 5051, their leader, Sarah Parker. Incredible bringing everybody here together. And let's just start with Joel Payne from Move On. This is big. The next No Kings. People have been saying, when's the next No Kings? What a turnout the first time. What can we expect this time on October 18th?
Well, Ben, we're just so excited to be with you. And you're right, this is big. And we're grateful for just you kind of lending your voice to make sure that all of your viewers and followers and subscribers are with us here. October 18th, as you said, is the next No Kings protest. Peaceful protest, which I appreciate that you underlined, and it's going to be all over the country. The first No Kings protest, over 2,000 protests across the country in all 50 states in June. We want to do that and more this time around. We were able to bring out 5 million people, which is significant because that shows the growing grassroots opposition to Donald Trump and his authoritarian overreach. And we think that has only grown to be bigger. I want to, yield to my friends over with the other organizations that are joining with Indivisible and with Florida Voices. But what I would just say to you is we view this as a moment that's a grassroots revolution. And the leadership is coming not from people inside of Washington, D.C., not from lawmakers. They have an important job, and we respect that. But the leadership in this moment is coming from the grassroots. It's coming from the people in cities and states and communities all across the country, red states, blue states, folks who have experience organizing and folks who are new to organizing. That's where the leadership is coming in this moment. And that's where we're so excited to join you here today, Ben, and talk about this. And one plug I'll add that you'll hear from us a lot, nokings.org, NOKINGS.org to sign up, learn more, get some more information about where the local No Kings protest near you will be on October 18th.
Ezra Levin, Indivisible, you and I chatted before No Kings, and wow, was that a successful, peaceful protest. And then since that protest, we've been also airing some of the organizational seminars that you've been throwing on a kind of weekly basis, preparing people what they can be doing in the interim, how they prepare peaceful mass mobilization. I think those toolkits have been very helpful for people as well. But tell us, how significant do you think this No Kings is going to be on October 18th? What else should people know about this?
Look, Joel said it. This is going to be historic. This is going to be historic. So the first No Kings, we were in 2,169 communities across 27 countries. I mean, Ben, that is historic. And since then, we've seen more and more people show up for the John Lewis Day, the Good Trouble Lives On, for Labor Day. Just this week, we saw folks all across the country showing up. What we're seeing is Trump is overreaching. He is overreaching. He is now occupying cities, LA, DC, rattling his saber at Chicago. People don't want this. People didn't vote for this. Even Trump voters did not vote for this. They wanted lower prices of bread and eggs, and they're getting this assault on cities across the country. They're getting a secret police force funded to the hill. They're pissed off and they're looking for what to do. So we show up on a day like No Kings on October 18th. We're showing up not just to be on the right side of history, not just to say, hey, we're fighting the good fight. We're showing up because it's strategic. It is strategic. What we know from the fights against authoritarianism throughout history across the world is that the thing that actually succeeds in successfully pushing back against authoritarian overreach is peaceful, mass, distributed organizing. There are some famous scholars of this that point to you need about 3.5% of the population. I think folks that are listening to Mize know that. 3.5% in America, that's 11 or 12 million people. We're making our way there. We're building this muscle so that we can protect ourselves, so we can protect our communities, so we can protect our democracy. That's why we show up on No King's Day. And look, as Joel said, the leaders of this movement, nothing but respect for Sarah and Joel, and I love Indivisible. We're not leading this. This is being led on the ground. This is not some faraway leader who's calling the shots. All of these events are going to be set up by people who are watching Midas, people who are engaged, people who are worried about democracy and want to be part of the solution. Good news. This is your chance, and we need your help. We need your help to spread the word. Midas, you're doing your part, but everybody who is watching this, you've got some homework. Go talk to your friends. Go talk to your family. Go talk to your colleagues. Tell them to mark the date. Tell them to go to nokings.org, because we need to make this even bigger to demonstrate that in America, we just don't do kings.
Let's talk to Sarah Parker from 5051 and Voices of Florida. Both organizations really coming onto the stage in a very big way, always big, but in a very big way during the Trump regime from the very outset. 5051 asserting itself strongly, and even outside the protest. One of the things I try to cover on a daily basis, if I can, is the eyes and ears you have on the ground of Trump's fascism, and whether it is peaceful protesters at the Texas Capitol building when they're locking up a House of Representative member and confining her inside because she refuses to have chaperones, to seeing the documentation of what's taking place with ICE disappearing people. 5051 has boots on the ground in a very organized but also decentralized way to move nimble and quick to get all this footage out there. So talk about the role 5051 is playing in this and Voices of Florida, and what we can expect with the upcoming No Kings protest on October 18th.
Thank you so much. I first want to say +1 to everything Ezra and Joel said. You called me a leader, but I want to be clear, like all the leaders are the people that are on the ground. We have what we call leaderful movement. We used to say leaderless, but these people have grown into leaders. These are grassroots organizers that have never organized before, have organized a little bit, coming from metropolitan areas to rural areas. They're absolutely amazing. And, they are the real heroes in this story. I think it's important to note that 5051 started just as a group of people in digital spaces being like, we want to do something. They were afraid. They continue to be afraid. And multiple people, actually famous people, have said, like, bravery is not the absence of fear. It is acting even though you are fearful, right? That's courage. That's bravery. And I'm seeing that across the country. I'm seeing that every single day when I talk to activists on the ground, which has been impactful and amazing. And Voices of Florida, we're a national partner, and along with Political Revolution. And we've been in this, like, in movement spaces for over 10 years, boots on the ground. So to be able to give my wisdom and give information and actually learn so much about myself and so much from these organizers has been a blessing. We are in unprecedented times. Like, let's be very clear. I know some people don't like to say the word fascism, but we are no longer on the way to fascism. We have pulled up in the cul-de-sac of fascism. So we are seeing our community members being kidnapped off of the street. We are seeing National Guard, as both of our amazing partners have said, being mobilized against their own citizens, right? So what 5051 is doing is bringing that decentralized touch to No Kings. We are coming back stronger than ever to make sure that this administration knows that we dissent, that we do not want kings, that we do not want authoritarianism, and that we know that this is fascism, pure and simple.
I think that there was that time period right in frankly, it was really after November. I would say kind of November through February, where there were so many people out there kind of felt hopeless. And all of the narratives out there was, it's over, it's done. You didn't hear, this at a mass mobilization level, the dissent. But you started to hear courageous people. And to your point, this leader-full movement of everyday citizens saying, this is not normal, right? Yeah, this isn't normal. This isn't normal, right? This isn't normal. And that started growing and growing and saying, what can we do about it? Oh, this is what we can do about it. And to me, then you saw some of the protests really in January after the inauguration, in February, March, culminating ultimately in No Kings. And now the next No Kings, which I think is going to be even bigger than the first No Kings. Let me go back to Joel from Move On right there. I think that when you see what's going on with this mass mobilization resistance, as Sarah says, this leaderful movement of the people, it gives me hope going into the next No Kings, actually. And it feels that this is growing bigger and bigger as, frankly, even though Trump's doing more authoritarian stuff, the White House looks smaller and smaller to me as what it's supposed to represent as the center of it. Just feels petty and weak and whiny versus the people power. I may be overstating it, Joel, but what do you make of this moment?
Yeah, Ben, I think you tied it together nicely. And I think Ezra and Sarah really just, spoken a lot of life into what a lot of people are feeling out there. Move On. One of the things that we really, really try to hold ourselves to, a standard that we try to hold ourselves to, is creating community. For millions of Americans out there. We've been doing it for over 25 years. And our model is about creating community and creating a space where people don't feel alone and don't feel isolated and don't have an excuse to disengage. Because I think what we have found is that in moments like this, and look, this moment is unique. It is unlike any moment, certainly in my lifetime, and probably since World War II in this country, where you have what is going on in this country happening minute by minute, day by day from the Trump White House. But having community that you can lean on, having people around you who are seeing the same thing you're seeing and who can validate your experience and say, no, I'm not taking crazy pills. No, you're not supposed to snatch people off the street. No, we're not supposed to transfer $1 trillion in wealth from the working families of America to the wealthiest 1% who are kissing up to Donald Trump. No, we're not going to allow Robert Kennedy Jr. to destroy our healthcare infrastructure and the CDC. Those things are not supposed to happen. And they're certainly not supposed to happen at the tip of an authoritarian overreach. And so we find that creating moments like this where people can come together is so effective. And while No Kings Day in October is going to be a great moment for that, as Ezra talked about, these things have been happening, not just in our organizations, but in the dozens of others that are going to be partnering with us all throughout, before the June No Kings event, since then, going into October and beyond. These things are going to keep happening because, again, this is a grassroots revolution that is not led out of Washington, D.C. It's not led by some great man or woman at the top of the top of a structure. It's led by people, everyday people who are tired of seeing Donald Trump and his administration overreach and destroy what we've built in this country.
It's a great point, Joel. We've seen peaceful protests since No Kings. It's not like it was No Kings and then a lull. If you watched corporate news, you'd probably think that there was nothing going on at all, yet alone the biggest mass mobilization potentially in American history. But even the way they covered the initial No King, we were getting millions of views here, and corporate news like, people are showing up. It's like it's the biggest mass mobilization, like basically in American history. But then even since then, we've seen major protests. I mean, we saw a big protest in Chicago recently, but not a big protest in Los Angeles recently. But frankly, across the country, I could be naming literally every city and we could just watch me do that for an hour. So I'm not going to do it. But we've seen big protests across the country since No Kings, the first one, which doesn't really get coverage, but except when it's in the digital spaces where people are getting their news from, it's getting massive amounts of the people know what's going on despite corporate news trying to silence it. So Ezra, can you speak to that, speak to the fact that, this is that any other social media creators out there get the message out? And how can we be more helpful in deploying this info right now about what's taking place and what's already happened?
Ben, this is why we're talking to you, man. This is why we're here, because we believe in what you were building. We believe in Midas. We believe in the emerging media ecosystem. And I'm sorry to say, I think the corporate media is just really dropping the ball this year. We see time after time these media institutions, these legacy institutions, many of which I have a great deal of respect for. I've read them. I've watched them for years and years. And I just see them not standing up to Trump, actually cowering in response to his threats. We need to get the message out. I think that the good news is lots of people are watching Midas. The good news is a lot of people are turning to other sources for their information. And it is our responsibility to get the message out to those people. We've got to meet people where they are. The real grassroots force is not going to be just driven by some article in the Washington Post or some coverage on CNN. It's going to be driven by people in communities across the country. So I want everybody who is watching this to think of yourself as a journalist. Think of yourself as part of the media ecosystem. Think of yourself as part of the grassroots movement and do your job with us, which is to spread the word. Let people know that, hey, Donald Trump is not all powerful. He is operating from a place of weakness, not strength. He wants you to be scared. He wants you to think he's got control. But these are not the actions of somebody who's in control. These are the actions of a wannabe dictator who is unpopular, who is a lame duck, who is on his way out, who is trying to hold on to control, but who will not be able to do that if we act. If we tell our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues, hey, we've got power here if we stand up, but we've got to do it. We've got to do the work. So October 18th is how we do that work. This is how we keep the republic that we need to keep. But it requires action from all of us. So I hope what people watching this do is share this video. Tell people to subscribe to Midas. Tell people to send this around and tell people to start going to nokings.org to get ready to show up and show just how powerful the American pro-democracy movement is.
Sarah Parker from Voices of Florida at 5051. When I was growing up and I was in middle school, I would always count down the days until winter break, probably starting right around now. And so I was always excited for that vacation. I'm counting down the days now until October 18th. But what can we do now until October 18th? Are there ways to get engaged and involved that you suggest?
Yeah, so one thing is I'm already counting down the days because my birthday is October 31st. So all I had to do is add a little extra X there. So I'm super excited about that. But, ways you can get involved. I think they've said it, nokings.org. Click on the button. Let people, I think there's want to learn more, sign up for that list. And also consistently, I will say that something that 5051 does is watch what's happening locally and mobilize against what's happening locally. And then when you're out there mobilizing against what's happening locally, be it your community members being kidnapped or National Guard being in your streets, remind them about October 18th. Remind them that the country is watching. Remind them that we are going to mobilize and we need them there too. So just by doing what you're already doing, definitely if you're an organizer, utilizing your platform. Listen, I'm a millennial and I get most of my news from Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I do watch the news in the morning now that I'm with 5051 and I'm an executive director. And also my mom and I used to do that, but not normal 32-year-olds just turn on the news first thing in the morning. So we need each and every person. I think back to the civil rights movement and people would literally talk to each other. That's how they mobilized. That's how they built momentum, and momentum took a lot of time. Now we have it right at our fingertips. So make sure you're sharing this, make sure you're going to nokings.org and make sure you're continuing to fight, not just on a federal level, but on a local level. As something I learned in Florida, what happens in Florida doesn't stay in Florida. We were a guinea pig to all of this. And I'm seeing the same thing trickle down into different states, not only red states, but blue cities too. No one is safe in this moment right now. So make sure that you're also leaning on each other and practicing radical love and continue to check out the website and stay involved.
All right, closing remarks from everyone. Joel, we'll start with you on closing remarks. Joel Payne from Move On. As we close this live stream out, as we brought a group of leaders in a leader-full movement, we're everyone's leaders. What's the closing remarks that you want people to leave here with?
I want to say a few things. One, now's the time to lean in. And there's a lot of ways you can lean in. You can lean in by clicking the subscribe button to Ben and to Midas right now. You can lean in by going to nokings.org right now, signing up to learn more. And you can lean in by showing up on October 18th and peacefully protesting with those in your community. Something else I know we all want to make sure we're not remiss in is mentioning the fact that we expect dozens of partners. Our organizations are in on this early, but we expect so many others, and there already are so many others. Our friends at AFT are a part of this. We have a number of other organizations. ACLU is a key partner as a part of this, and so many others that'll be listed on our website. And we expect more to come on. And again, those organizations are important not because of their logos, but because the people that stand behind them and because of who we represent and the constituencies that we represent. The fact that these are folks who are, in communities across the country, in places not just in Chicago and in New York and in San Francisco, but in Little Rock, Arkansas, and in Boise, Idaho, right? And in, the Florida Panhandle. You've got this movement that is springing up all over the place, Ben, and we want to create an opportunity for all those folks to come together peacefully, be heard, and to say in unison, peacefully and clearly, in America, there are no kings ever, and there are no kings now.
Ezra Levin, Indivisible, closing remarks.
Well, most of all, listen to Joel and Sarah, because they've just got brilliant points to make, and I'd follow them anywhere. Here's what I would say. This is a big thing we're talking about. This is a scary thing for many people. We're dealing with an overreaching authoritarian who is attacking American cities, who's got this huge secret police force. That can make some people frightened. And they might think, well, look, I'm not the kind of person to protest. That's just not what I do. I support it, but I'm not going to go out there. I'm worried something might happen. Look, if you're paying attention, you should be worried. This is serious. And also, I think we heard it earlier from Sarah. Bravery is not the absence of fear. That is not what it is. We act not because we're fearless, but together we act because courage is contagious. This is how we successfully push back against creeping authoritarianism. And as serious as all this is, as high as the stakes are, another thing I want to emphasize is this is a lot of fun to show up in community in defense of democracy. If you've been out at any of these protests, whether it's on Labor Day, whether it's the John Lewis Good Trouble Lives On, or the First No Kings, or Hands Off this year, what you found were groups of people, many of them strangers to each other, who were bringing their dogs and their kids, and there was music and there was dancing and there was funny signs. It's a cool scene. You're going to want to be part of it, and you should help build it up. And to be as welcoming as possible. If you are someone who has never in your life participated in a protest, this is your chance. It's going to be a good time. You will be welcomed. You will find community members who agree with you, and you will build real power that will protect your community or democracy. You are welcome here. We need you. And ultimately, we're going to win, and then we're going to celebrate.
Sarah Parker, Voices of Florida.
My closing remarks would be that fascism is insidious, right? It's not only insidious, it's sneaky, and it is extremely powerful, unfortunately. And these things don't happen in the dead of night, and the resistance doesn't win in the dead of night or quickly. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon, and we have to keep doing the work. And it is now or never. It is the same reason why I went to Los Angeles when we saw what they did there. It's the same reason that a lot of 5051 chapters are mobilizing to Washington, D.C. September 6th. We have to fight. It is now or never. And I have faith in my community. I have faith in my state, even though it's Florida. And I have faith in my country that we will fight back and we will win.
There you have it. Sarah Parker, Joel Payne, Ezra Levin. Great to see you all. And thanks everybody for watching this special edition of the Midas Touch podcast, where we've been able to bring together leaders of a leaderful movement. I'm going to use that now for now, and I like that, and it's accurate. And you all now go on and be the leaders of this leaderful movement. Spread the message. Let other people know about No Kings taking place on October 18th. Share this video with as many people as possible. And of course, check out the website as well. We'll put a link in the description below as well. So thank you everybody so much. Thank you all for joining us here, and we'll see you next time on the Midas Touch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.midastouch.com. All 100% USA Union made.